I told you last week that the Senate Intelligence Committee had subpoenaed Donald Trump Jr. to go and talk to them. And the reason why, as far as we know, is that because no matter how many times Donald Trump likes to say it, the investigations aren't over. And later in the show, I'll give you a list of the open investigations. I also told you that the fact that there's a subpoena at all likely means that the Senate Intelligence Committee already requested that Don Jr. appear and that he ignored those requests, causing the need for a subpoena. And indeed, Republicans on the Senate Intel Committee are telling us that that's the case. Now, why would the Senate Intelligence Committee even want to talk to Don Jr.? Because it appears as though he lied to them through his teeth, and Republicans and Democrats don't like being lied to. Republicans and Democrats will become instantly bipartisan when they feel like their authority is not being respected and they're not being taken seriously. Don Jr. said that he knew nothing about the Moscow Trump Tower project, that he had nothing to do with it. He wasn't talking to anyone about it. And yet Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, later revealed under oath that he briefed both Don Jr. and Ivanka Trump about that project about 10 times. What else did Don Jr. lie about during the Senate Intel testimony that he gave? I don't know, but that's exactly what the Senate Intelligence Committee now wants to find out. However, there is at least one sitting senator, Lindsey Graham, who is a known Trump brown-nosing sycophant, who's urging Don Jr. to just ignore the legal subpoena from the same Senate on which Lindsey Graham sits. This is against the law. Lindsey Graham is suggesting that Don Jr. break the law so that he doesn't have to speak to his colleagues in the Senate. Check this clip out from Fox News on Sunday.
This was all a setup, I think, and we'll know more. We'll know more here soon.
Was it also a setup to set up Donald Trump Jr.? I mean, what is this subpoena of Donald Trump Jr. coming out of your colleagues and the Senate Intel Committee?
As I understand it, this subpoena relates to what Michael Cohen said about some meetings and about the Trump Tower in Russia. All I can say is that Richard Burr is a very good friend. He's trying hard to be bipartisan. But anything based on what Michael Cohen said is worthless testimony. Michael Cohen is a worthless witness. And if I were Donald Trump Jr.'s lawyer, I would tell him, you don't need to go back into this environment anymore. You've been there for hours and hours and hours, and nothing being alleged here changes the outcome of the Mueller investigation. I would call it a day.
So first of all, if Lindsey believes that Michael Cohen lied under oath when he testified, then Cohen should be punished for that. Now, do you think that after everything and everyone that's gone down for lying to investigators and lying to Congress, don't you think that if Michael Cohen did lie to Congress about Don Jr.'s involvement, that they would be charging Cohen and potentially extending his prison sentence? I mean, it's all completely ridiculous at face value. But you might imagine, oh, Lindsey Graham is going to get crushed for this, right? I mean, for a sitting senator to get away with suggesting that legal subpoenas from his own Senate be ignored, he's going to get crushed by that, right? No, he's not. And the reason why is that the same Republicans who want to shut down government departments, the same Republicans who say that they are about small government, if you believe that almost any government action is an overreach, then you like the idea of taking power away from the government and from the Senate. Lindsey Graham, as crazy as what he's suggesting Don Jr. do is, just break the law, right? Ignore the subpoena. Lindsey Graham is going to be praised for his suggestion because so-called small government conservatives and Trumpists don't see this as Lindsey suggesting Don Jr. break the law. They see this as Lindsey Graham doing the small government conservative thing of limiting the power of the Senate by suggesting people ignore subpoenas, which of course they say are bogus witch hunt subpoenas. And this sort of comes down to a fundamental philosophical difference that makes it safe for Lindsey Graham to suggest Don Jr. break the law. And unfortunately, this is how a government becomes an oligarchy. This is how a government moved towards autocracy. And this is the theme of the Trump administration. The Senate has subpoena powers. Senators choosing to question their own subpoena power over the family of the president of the United States is another way to usher in or to allow or to look the other way about presidential autocracy and authoritarianism. And I genuinely wonder, does Trump have something on Lindsey Graham? And I know every time we talk about Lindsey, someone will write to me. They'll say, David, Lindsey Graham has to do what Trump wants, because if he doesn't, Trump will reveal that Lindsey Graham is gay. I don't know if that's true. It's been a rumor in DC for decades. It's not unique to Trump. That could be something he's holding over Lindsey Graham's head. I just don't see that. I think that there has to be something else that explains to us why Lindsey Graham has become totally subservient to Trump. Is it some implicit or intimated promise about Lindsey's role in a second Trump term? Maybe. I don't know. But he has to go. He's up for re-election in 2020, by the way, but it's a very safe seat currently, and he's probably going to get reelected.